Alright, good boy, Benny. Sorry about that. Video camera's a bit low on memory, but do my best. Yeah, the Pupsicle really makes the difference for the heat, and it being, not unpleasant for the dog, and not being, having to have to be worried about whether or not he's safe, and whether he's getting too hot, or if he gets too hot, just pop a Pupsicle out of the freezer, and he's ready to have some fun. Enjoy his treat. He's much more aggressive about, like, trying to get the food out when I give him it in a Pupsicle format, and it takes a lot longer in the Pupsicle format. So, there's a lot of advantages to it, except you just really have to be organized and have them prepared beforehand and make up big batches and stuff. I do my best when I'm in one place for long periods to make up big batches of them, and basically what I do is I'll wash all of them in one sitting. And he has like 20, 30, maybe even more, 40 toys in different shapes and versions. So I'll go through and I'll wash them all out, dry them, get them all like perfectly ready to go. And I'll have had already beforehand made a batch of moistened kibble up, I'd have on hand ready to go. And then I stuff all of whatever I've got. Once they're all stuffed and ready, then I toss them in the freezer, and away we go. When depends on the size, how long it'll take for them to freeze. For like the small toys like these that you've seen, somewhere around 3 to 4 hours minimum. Sometimes at least up to 6, depends. You'll know when it's frozen rock solid, especially if you packed it all the way. You're better to give more time than less, obviously. The bigger toys, like say the large Kong Genius series, would take somewhere around 8 to 9 hours at least. And the really like giant toys, those are gonna take like a day or longer. So, if you plan in advance, and you can have some smaller ones and bigger ones in different sizes, so that you'll have some ready sooner, and those will hold them over until the bigger ones get frozen solid. So if you have some organization and some planning ahead of time, especially if you bother to say get a bunch more than just like one or two, then it definitely makes things a lot simpler, a lot easier, a lot faster. And just generally overall better and preferable. I understand that it doesn't work for everyone. It's not going to be the right solution for everyone, but if you can only afford to get one or two, fine, whatever. We all have our limits and we all have our budgets. I would recommend, however, that you check online and you look around, because you can get much better deals online if you're willing to be a bit patient and you're not insisting that you go to the store and pick it up right at this instant. If that's will work for you, good boy, Ben. Great, then, like, for the price of what I paid online compared to the price I paid for these things in stores, I could easily get like 5 to 7, even 10 of them for the same price as one in store. So, at a minimum, like, I'm looking at like easily 2/3 the reduction in price, if not significantly less than that, or significantly more reduced, so the price itself is less, whatever. This ball, for example, I probably didn't spend more than like $3 or $4 on. But if I were to try to buy it in the pet stores, I'm looking at least 25, probably $30. So yeah, definitely was worth it for me to purchase these online. And I did it in bulk, so I didn't have as many shipping costs, and I did everything I could to save money when I did it, so that I could get a whole bunch of different things, to be able to try a bunch of different things and find ones that worked. Invested quite a pretty penny, but overall, I think in the long run it's worth it. It just 99% of the population will never have the opportunity, much less the actual experience of doing something like that. I was only in a rare and unique position that allowed me to be able to do something like that, despite my normally rather barren pocketbook. So it is just keep in mind, if you can do it, I would recommend buying them online. If it's your first time, you've never bought a toy before, then I probably would recommend buying a single toy or one, maybe two toys in store, and then I would stick to anything Kong, preferably Kong in a treat dispensing toy, and in something like either the red original Kong rubber, like this, or in the Kong Stream rubber. Yeah, what is it, eh? Where's your toy? Is that good? He's trying to get at that little bit that's left. Good boy. Yeah. Gentle. Gentle. Good boy. Just telling him to be gentle with his head and scratching. Good boy. He's the kind of dog who'll like tear his ear open, giving himself like scratching an itch. So, gotta just remind him to be gentle. I don't want the vet bills. Is that good? Gonna give? Good boy. Okay. Oh. It's a little slippery and slimy. Yeah? Sorry, Ben, are you gonna give? Give it. 1, 2. Thank you. Good boy. So, yeah, let's take a look at that. So there's still plenty left in there. Whoa. Really slippery. Ready? Yeah? Oh, sorry, guys. Where is it? Where'd it go? Yeah? Good boy. You gonna kill it? No, it's just his command to play with the toy. Yeah, good boy. Good boy, Benny. Thank you. Good boy. What a good dog. He's actually trying to figure out in his head how to get it to come out. He's like systematically testing how he can throw it to get something to fall out. So smart, it's crazy to watch. So amazing. He's just so smart. It's really amazing to watch a dog like mentally puzzle out how he can make this work. Such a sweetie. Sure, all you wonderful people out there are having a wonderful day. Sure. Benny will enjoy his day. He's definitely already enjoyed it quite a bit today. I'm sure he'll continue to enjoy it. I hope you and your puppers out there get the opportunity to try some Pupsicles as the weather is hot these days, and you and your dog can have a lot of fun. And, you know, maybe you'll share a Popsicle with them yourself. I'm sure they'll definitely greatly appreciate it. Especially with this hot weather, you just have to be really careful. Also be aware that the longer the dog's exposed to really hot temperatures, it's a little like being exposed to long periods without sleep or really high stress environments or whatever else. Sorry. So the longer a dog is in such kind of situations, the more likely they are to be reaching the limits of their abilities to handle the situations and may be put into a situation where they feel compelled to be aggressive to protect themselves or their food or a loved one or whatever, or at least be protective or defensive of such objects. So, yeah. Well, I am putting him in a bit of a situation where we've got lights on, I'm filming, it's really hot, he's got a prized object, there's food around. He's eating, etc. Sorry. So all of these things combine and they do take their toll on the dog. Now Benny is trained and experienced. He's still a young dog, so he's not like fully all done and finished up his training and capable of anything or any situation. But he has been long and well trained in these kind of things, and he's not stressed. He's not showing any signs of distress or difficulty. He's having fun, even if he occasionally inhales some food and coughs a bit. But so he's relaxed. I'm not harassing him. This is overall a positive encounter. But even then, I'm still aware of the potential. So that, one, I know not to push him as hard as I might push him in another set of circumstances where there was less difficulty and stress and less fatigue and etc. Um, as so, you know, if suddenly a screaming toddler starts kind of running up, going to ride him like a cowboy, I know this is the wrong time for him to for something like that to happen, so I'm going to immediately stop that before the kid gets anywhere near the dog. By whatever means I need to do. Usually just my voice. Raising my voice is more than enough to prevent anything from being inappropriate, but I will make sure that Benny is in a secure situation and doesn't have to ever be concerned. So, because Benny and I have a good relationship and we've built a lot of trust, and he knows that I'm not ever going to mistreat him, he's comfortable with letting me push the boundaries a bit by doing things like, for example, recording him while he plays with his treat. You shouldn't assume that any and every dog will be capable of doing this, and most dogs, just let them play with their treat, have it be fun experience with you and your loved one. Share the fun, share the joy, but don't be unfair. Don't play games of keep away. Let them just have their treat. So I'm not saying don't engage the dog, don't touch the dog, don't teach the dog to understand that it's okay if he hears or sees things, that it's not a big deal and he doesn't need to be worried or fearful or aggressive or whatever. So, but your dog, the situation you're putting your dog in. Make the right decisions for you and your dog. I'm just letting you know so that you can kind of make those decisions and you understand that, yes, I am aware of these factors and I am considering them and respecting the dog's boundaries and the circumstances and whatnot. I've already long ago trained Benny so that I could take that away from him and I could play theoretically keep away if I really wanted to, or any of those kind of things. And I'm not worried he would bite me or bite somebody for it. But out of respect for him, we don't do that. We treat each other with respect, and we get along perfectly fine. If you do the same, you should be largely okay, assuming the dog is healthy and there's no pre-existing issues. But I am aware and I am respecting the dog there, but be aware that taking out a camera and recording an already volatile situation can definitely exacerbate the situation and potentially cause the dog to feel the need to be aggressive or what is it, Benny? Or otherwise protective of their prized objects or whatever. So be fair, give consideration to the dog and the circumstances they're in. And yeah, so I mean, if you have basic decency, you shouldn't have too many issues. Obviously, make sure to have fresh water. But it's a great toy. There's lots of great ways you can use it. Yeah, he's pretty near done, but he's gonna keep working it Basically, when you crush, you fill it fully so that it basically all smushes into one giant ball when it freezes. Um, what it does is it defrosts. It allows little bits to spray out, um, and the dog to be able to put their tongue in and lick off of the giant block of frozen dog food. Um, Sorry, guys, doing my best. So, um, as it progressively gets more eaten and the ball inside gets smaller and smaller, eventually it'll get small enough that it'll fall out, and then the dog will lick the inside of the toy until it's cleaned out and there's pretty much nothing left. I will give him that. He never leaves me a dirty toy to clean. He always makes sure that it's cleaned out before he lets me uh, have it back. But I prefer it that way. Um, if you are getting a dog who's leaving a lot behind, I would don't pack it as much, and I would put it. I would cut the water by at least half, so that there's less than half remaining the total liquid added to the dry kibble at the first step. You could even reduce it more so that the kibble will maintain a fair amount of physical consistency and maintain their structure and shape and whatnot. They're not too mushy and soft. Um, and then pack them in so that they're not so tightly packed that they're all crushed into a mush, but instead so that they maintain their solid shape. You can even freeze the softened kibble and then put it in the tree ball and pack it gently so that there's enough room for everything and nothing's getting crushed and smushed, but that the pieces maintain their solid shape. Then, once that's done, put that back in the freezer for like 10, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever. Come back, once it's frozen again, and pour a little bit of water inside, just a tiny bit, or whatever, peanut butter, whatever you want, and then kind of let it shake it up a bit so that it kind of spreads around all over the food inside. And once you've done that, shove it back in the freezer and let it freeze solid. Once it's frozen solid, give it to the dog in the same way, and that will allow the kibble to fall out like it would normally, instead of the mushy kind of stuff. So there's varying ways that this game can be played even when it's in Pupsicle mode. And if you find like the having the slimy soft food consistency is causing problems with like getting into things or getting into the dog's hair or getting mushed into the floor or something, like Benny, I know there's nothing left behind. He gets every last scrap. So I know with Benny I'm good. And I know he's eating it on the ground, so he's not going to get it everywhere. But, yeah, if you have a problem with that, switching to the less moist technique I just described, where the kibble maintains its structure, will resolve that issue. So, yeah, that should resolve any issues that you've been having, or that you have, or you might have. So kind of make your decision about what will be right for you. Like if you're playing this as an indoor-only game, where you might have like floors you don't want goopy messes on or anything, and you don't want the potential of something left behind kind of thing. In which case, go with the drier kibble format where, like you could even put like dry kibble, and then pour a little bit of water in, kind of shake it up, freeze, shake it up, put a little bit more in, shake it up until you kind of like top it all the way up to fill. And once that's frozen solid, you can give it to the dog like that. So there's a lot of options. You don't feel like, you have to do it a specific way. You're pretty much only limited by your creativity and potentially maybe any allergies the dog has or something. But whatever you normally can feed them, you can feed them in a toy. And whatever you normally can feed them in a toy, you can feed them in a Pupsicle. And pretty much universally, whatever you normally feed in a toy is pretty much infinitely universally better in a Pupsicle. So, yeah, take that into consideration. And keep that in mind. And hopefully you all have a wonderful day. We'll be signing off pretty soon because Benny's pretty near done this. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope the information is useful. Sorry if I was quiet at some points, and especially in the other video. And for the periodic video shutting down on its own. Sometimes I hit the wrong button, sometimes I just hit the limits of memory and space. Sometimes the battery's too low. It's a variety of things. I'm not a noob, obviously, when it comes to handling animals. I've been handling them all my life. And I've been training dogs professionally for decades. I've worked with multiple species in multiple areas. I specialize in problem solving and working with dogs with varying issues. I take on some of the most complex and difficult training cases imaginable. Training dogs is definitely not an area I struggle with, but when it comes to software, when it comes to like being a videographer or being a YouTuber or whatever like that kind of stuff, yeah, I am 100% newbie and total. Yeah, I'm a noob through and through. So I understand, lots of people probably can do a lot better job at this. I'm sure my videos aren't terribly professional. Hopefully you guys can get something out of them. I'm doing the best I can. I know some of these games will be things that you will have had opportunities to see variations of from other trainers and other circumstances. Other games you won't have had an opportunity to see before, and this will be a new experience for you and your dogs. Some of these things I've invented myself. Some of these things are my interpretations of other people's work. Some of these things are just things that I've learned. Yeah. Where this isn't my work, I'll try to be clear about it. It depends on the degree of others' involvement, I guess. Just how, we all learn from someone, and everything new is based on things that came before us, and we all stand on the shoulders of giants when we accomplish great things. So I'm not trying to claim that everything is coming from me and I am a perfect genius who, can do anything and yada yada. That's not who I am, and that's not what I'm doing. But I do hope that you guys can get something good out of this, and that the animals in your lives can live better, happier, healthier, more satisfied and fulfilled lives where their needs are met and they feel secure and fulfilled in their existence. When dogs don't get their drives and basic needs met, the resulting behavior from the dogs is just so sad. And the kind of devastation and destruction that results when people get an animal that they're unprepared to have, and the animal suffers, and the problems just compound and get bigger and get more and more overwhelming. I find that to be so sad and so distasteful and so very. I feel so much for those animals. Like, I also feel for the people because I know living in that environment is not a pleasant environment, and oftentimes a lot of the people living in those circumstances and living around the chaos don't necessarily have control over that chaos and aren't necessarily choosing to live in chaos, but someone in their existence has made mistakes, made poor choices, and ended up in a situation where there's an animal who desperately, loves the people in their pack, and loves their family dearly, wants to spend every second with them, really is a good dog, is, the best of dogs. But because nobody's providing their basic needs, whether